Former mayor of Cleveland, currently running for Congress, Dennis Kucinich, is demanding the city to take legal action against the Browns over the decision to move the stadium to Brook Park. I'm joined by attorney Mark Dan to break this all down for us. So Mark, I understand Kucinich sent a letter to Cleveland's law director and he's demanding action to enforce a law he wrote in 1996 to protect taxpayers' investments in the team and keep the team on the city's lakefront. So can you just help us understand these developments and what kind of action he's taking here?
Yes, that bill was written in the light of the Browns leaving Cleveland the last time they left Cleveland, and I think that Congressman Kucinich is correct about this. That there's a good chance that the city of Cleveland could have a successful lawsuit against the Browns unless they can reach some sort of agreement allowing them to leave, or the Browns give them the opportunity to put together a group to purchase the Browns and keep them in Cleveland.
And just curious, looking forward, what this is going to mean, if it's going to slow things down. Do you think that this letter that he wrote, as well as this law that he's referring to, has a lot of teeth here? And why do you think so moving forward?
Well, yeah, I think that the citizens of Cleveland deserve the opportunity to, the Green Bay Packers are a great example. There's a team that's owned by the public. It's owned by its fans. I think Cleveland would be a great place for a similar experiment to allow the shares of the Browns to be publicly sold. So there's an option. There are plenty of successful business people who care about Cleveland, who love sports and who love the Browns. And if the Haslams don't want to keep the team in Cleveland, then that's an opportunity potentially to get some new ownership of the Browns. I think those of us that have followed the Deshaun Watson trade are feeling that might be a good change for a bunch of other reasons. But at the end of the day, that statute, I think, is enforceable. And Congressman Kucinich has done the correct thing by making demand on the city to bring the lawsuit. If the law director chooses not to bring the lawsuit, then he's able to bring it himself on behalf of the city to enforce that agreement. Now, that said, we don't know what the behind-the-scenes negotiations are between the city and the Browns. They might have had that discussion about getting permission to leave under the statute, although I think Mayor Bibb would have mentioned that at his press conference when the time came. So I do think that this is an issue. It was used a couple of years ago to keep the soccer team in Columbus, and I think it has some potential, assuming that's what the people of Cleveland and the courts decide is the best thing for Cleveland to keep the team here in Brown Stadium.
And do you think that this action that he's taking is going to really slow down the Browns' efforts to build the Dome Stadium in Brook Park? What do you think comes next?
Well, I think certainly a lawsuit would delay any kind of effort to go out and raise money in the open public markets, or certainly I think it would give pause to governments who might be willing to contribute money to a Brown Stadium. But I think they're going to have a tough time getting that money as it is. Right now in Cincinnati, they're facing a similar problem. Their stadium is as old as our stadium, and their ownership is demanding state support for a new stadium. So are the Cincinnati Reds. So anything that the state does for Cleveland, they're going to have to do for Cincinnati a couple of different times. Plus, the county, the mayor of Cleveland, and obviously Cleveland's not going to be putting any money into moving the team out. And the Cuyahoga County executive, Chris Ronayne, has already announced that he's not in support of any kind of effort to fund a Brown Stadium in Brook Park. So, unless the Haslams are willing to pay the bill all themselves, and they can strike a deal with the city of Cleveland, where Cleveland will agree for them to leave, I think that this lawsuit could slow them down substantially.
Yeah, a lot to sort through. We know there are a lot of mixed feelings about these decisions. So attorney Mark Dan, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.